What if I told you that achieving your childhood dream could actually be the thing that kills you? For most wrestlers, signing a WWE contract is the finish line. It's the moment they've sacrificed everything for. But for one man, that signature on the dotted line didn't bring fame or fortune. It brought a spiral of addiction, humiliation, and a fight for his actual life. You probably know him as the guy who took his wife's last name. The guy who got squash matched in minutes. But before we get to the humiliation, you need to understand the monster. He was battling behind the curtain, a monster far scarier than Brock Lesnar. Before the WWE machine stripped him of his identity, Michael Bennett was a legitimate problem. In Ring of Honor, he wasn't a joke, he was a leader. As part of the Kingdom, he traveled to Japan, stood toe-to-toe with legends like Hiroshi Tanahashi, and carried himself like a heavyweight champion. But his peak came in 2016 when he jumped to TNA. They called him the Miracle, and he lived up to the name. He ended Egg 3's undefeated streak, something nobody thought was possible. He was in the main event picture, cutting promos that made you believe he was the future of the industry. He had the look, he had the talk, he had the it factor. WWE scouts saw this and thought, we need him. But and this is critical, they didn't want the Miracle, they wanted something else entirely. The call finally came in 2017. Michael Bennett and his wife, Maria Kanellis, were heading to the big leagues. It was the moment every wrestler works for. But as they packed their bags for WWE, neither of them knew they were walking into a creative slaughterhouse. June 18, 2017, Money in the Bank. The crowd erupts as a new theme song hits. It's an 80s power ballad. Out walks Maria. And Mike, but he's not Michael Bennett anymore. He's Mike Kanellis, the gimmick. The power of love. On paper, a heel couple obsessed with each other could work. Edge and Lita did it. But this wasn't Edge and Lita. Vince McMahon's vision for Mike wasn't a manipulator, it was a submissive husband. Within weeks, the man who ended EC3's streak was being treated as a prop, his wife's entrance. But here is where the story gets dark. While fans were laughing at the gimmick on Twitter, Mike was fighting a secret war. He wasn't just frustrated, he was numb. Michael Bennett has since revealed that during this time, his addiction to prescription painkillers was spiraling out of control. He was hiding pills in his gear bag. He was taking them to get through the travel, to numb the pain of the physical bumps, but also to numb the pain of his professional embarrassment. He was showing up to arenas, hoping he wouldn't be used, just so he could collect a check and go back to the hotel to use. The WWE schedule is brutal. For an addict, it's a minefield. And when the creative team decided to start a storyline involving Maria's pregnancy and humiliating Mike further, the mental toll became unbearable. He wasn't just losing matches, he was losing his dignity. By 2019, Mike had cleaned up. He went public with his recovery, a brave move in an industry that used to hide its demons. He thought sobriety would restart his career. He signed a new 5-year contract, trusting the process. But the booking didn't change. In fact, it got worse. But here's the secret reveal, the moment that changed everything. In October 2019, Mike Kanellis did something taboo. He publicly asked for his release on Twitter. But here is what nobody talks about. It wasn't just about bad booking. In interviews since leaving, Bennett revealed the real reason he had to leave. He said that collecting a paycheck to sit in catering while he was sober made him feel like a thief. He felt he was stealing money. The guilt of being paid to do nothing was threatening his sobriety. He realized that the safe option, staying in WWE, was the dangerous option for his life. WWE denied his request initially. They froze him out. They wanted to make an example of him, but he didn't crack. He kept pushing, kept training, and kept his sobriety intact until they finally let him go in April 2020. April 15, 2020, Black Wednesday. Mike was released. For many, it was a tragedy. For Michael Bennett, it was freedom. He immediately returned to the independent scene, to Ring of Honor, and eventually back to TNA Impact. But he came back different. He wasn't the power of love guy anymore. He was a seasoned veteran, a survivor, and a leader. He proved that you can walk away from the biggest company in the world and not only survive but thrive. You can see his influence today in stars like Mustafa Ali, who are all pack guys who know their worth and aren't afraid to bet on themselves. Michael Bennett's legacy isn't the 24/7 title. It's the fact that he stared down the barrel of addiction and professional ruin and chose to save himself. If you love this deep dive into the real human stories behind the wrestling characters, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more untold stories from ring legends. Who should we cover next? Another failed star who actually succeeded? Drop your pick in the comments below. Next week, we're diving into the strange disappearance of a WCW legend. You won't want to miss it.